Good morning class 12 students. So this is your subject physics and today we are gonna start the new chapter, that is chapter number 12, atoms. So this is the lecture 1. Okay. So in this lecture, or you can say in this chapter, you will be studying about Thomson's model, Rutherford model and Bohr's model of atom. So there were three different models of atom which were given by the respective scientists. Okay, so we'll be calculating various factors also as we go through the different models. So first of all, let us begin with the Thomson's model of atom. So Thomson suggested that if we consider the atom to be a positively charged sphere like this, okay, so he said that if this is the atom, then electrons are embedded in this atom like watermelon. See, for example, in watermelon seeds are embedded. Similarly, the electrons are embedded in a atom according to Thomson. So it was said that this atom is electrically neutral, that is, the negative charge of electron should be equal to the positive charge of this sphere. Okay, so positive charge of the sphere will be equal to negative charge of the electrons, which will make the atom to be electrically neutral. So according to Thomson, the entire mass and the charge was entirely, or you can say was uniformly distributed inside this model. Okay, but now there were some limitations of this Thomson's model which were recovered by the Rutherford. So the limitation of this model was that it cannot explain the large angle scattering of alpha particles from the metal foils. This you will be studying in Rutherford model. When he took a metal foil and he scattered alpha particles with it, he saw the scattering of those alpha particles, but that scattering this Thomson model was not able to explain. So therefore, let us now study Rutherford's model. So when Rutherford studied about atom, he concluded a thing which is present inside atom, which is called nucleus. Okay, so let us begin with the experiment of the Rutherford first. Okay, so for the experiment, what Rutherford did, he took a alpha particle source, that is a source from which alpha particle ray will be emitted. Then he took a gold foil. Okay, so what he did, he struck these alpha particles with this gold foil, and it was seen that these alpha particles after striking this were scattered. So I have taken any scattered ray at any instant which is at an angle of theta, so this becomes angle of scattering, and this was the screen which was zinc sulfide screen taken by the Rutherford, and this detector is a rotable detector which can rotate to see the various intensity at different scattering angles. Okay, so this was the Rutherford experiment. Okay, so now first of all, let me tell you what do you mean by a alpha particle. So basically, alpha particle is nothing but a helium nucleus which consists of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Okay, and if we talk about the mass and charge of the alpha particle, mass of the alpha particle is 4 times as that mass of a proton, obviously because it has 2 protons and 2 neutrons, and its charge is equals to 2 times as that of proton, and alpha particle is a positively charged particle. Okay, so now based on this experiment, there were some observations which were made by the Rutherford, and after that the explanation of those observations were given. So okay students, so do one thing, there is a correction in that diagram. Make the zinc sulfide screen to be more circular so that the alpha particles which are deflected or reflected in this direction can also be seen through detector. Okay, so make it much more circular. Rest of the diagram is same. Make this to be circular. Okay, about the observations first. So the first observation of Rutherford model was that most of the alpha particles pass straight without any deflection. That is, when these alpha particles come near the gold foil, it was seen most of the alpha particles pass straight without any deflection. Second observation was that few alpha particles were deflected by very small angles. That is, there were some alpha particles which were deflected, but they were deflected by very small angles. And third observation was that very few alpha particles were reflected back. That is, some of the alpha particles were reflected back, that is, they retraced their path. Okay, so based on all three observations, there were some conclusions, or you can say there were some explanations of these observations. So before that, this is the graph between the number of alpha particles scattered and the scattering angle. So according to his observation, very few alpha particles were deflected by very small angles. So if we plot a graph with increasing scattering angles, so as you can see, most of the particles are scattered by small angles only, and very few particles are scattered by by larger angle. Okay, so therefore few particles were deflected by small angles only. Okay. Now, based on all these observations, it was concluded if the most of the alpha particles are passing straight without any deflection, that means there must be a lot of empty space inside atom. So, there is a lot of empty space inside the atom. This was the first explanation for the observation. Second explanation was that, see, alpha particle is about 7,000 times much more massive than electron. That means for such a massive product, or for such a massive particle, you need very large force to deflect them, obviously. So this means we need very large force to deflect these alpha particles. So now the question is, how is it possible that alpha particles are getting deflected when they come near gold foil? That means inside the atom there is a very big substance, or you can say there is a very massive particle which is producing, or which is applying that force on alpha particle. So that particle was named as nucleus. Okay, so it was concluded entire positive charge of atom is concentrated in a tiny central core of atom, which is called nucleus. That is, if there is an atom, in its core it has a nucleus which has the entire positive charge of the nucleus, and the electrons are revolving around that nucleus. Okay, so what will happen, because alpha particles are positively charged, as I told you, nucleus, we are considering nucleus to be positively charged as well. So what will happen, there will be a repulsion between the nucleus and alpha particles, and therefore these alpha particles will be reflected back. So now if we conclude the Rutherford's model in 3-4 lines, it says that nucleus consists of entire positive charge of the atom. Secondly, it says size of nucleus is about 10 to the power minus 15 meters, which is much smaller as compared to the size of atom, which is 10 to the power minus 10 meters. See, because obviously nucleus is present inside atom, or you can say nucleus is the core of atom. So obviously its size would be smaller than that of atom. So size of atom is nearly about 10 to the power minus 10 meters, and size of your nucleus is about 10 to the power minus 15 meters. Okay. So now, as I told you, nucleus consists of all the positive charge of atom. So what happens, this nucleus is surrounded by electrons which are revolving around it in various orbits. Okay, and we have studied one more thing, that your atom is electrically neutral. So therefore the total charge on these electrons will be equal to the total charge of the nucleus. Okay, so now see, if electrons are revolving around nucleus, that means they will be requiring some centripetal force. So from where that centripetal force comes? So the centripetal force which is required by the electrons to revolve around nucleus is provided by the electrostatic force of attraction between electrons and nucleus, because see, electrons and nucleus are negatively charged and positively charged respectively. So therefore there will be some electrostatic force of attraction between them, which will be providing the required centripetal force for the electron so that it can revolve around the nucleus. Okay, so if we summarize it, so if this is the atom, there is a core inside atom which is termed as nucleus, and it is positively charged, and electrons are revolving around nucleus in various orbits. So this was all about Rutherford's model. Now based on this, if we want to calculate distance of closest approach, so see, alpha particles, or the ray of alpha particles, will be having some kinetic energy. So let us suppose initially these alpha particles has a kinetic energy of E. Okay, now as I told you, these alpha particles are positively charged and nucleus is also positively charged. So as these alpha particles come closer to the nucleus, what will happen? Because due to the Coulombic repulsion between them, kinetic energy will go on decreasing and the potential energy will go on increasing. Okay, so I am repeating it once again. Alpha particles, we are taking alpha particles have an initial kinetic energy of E. When they will come closer to the nucleus, as there is a force of repulsion between nucleus and alpha particles, therefore kinetic energy will go on decreasing, and due to the conservation of energy, potential energy will go on increasing. Okay, so now there what will happen, at a certain distance this kinetic energy will become zero and potential energy will become maximum, obviously. So let us suppose at a certain distance r0, kinetic energy of the alpha particle has become 0. Now can you tell me, if the kinetic energy of the alpha particle has become 0, will it go in forward direction or now will it be repelled by the nucleus? Obviously it will be repelled. So what will happen, alpha particle now cannot go beyond r0, or you can say cannot travel a distance more than r0 closer to the nucleus, and will get repelled by the nucleus and will retrace its path. So this distance is called distance of closest approach. That is, how close the alpha particle can come to nucleus is defined as the distance of closest approach. Okay, so now, okay, so if you understand this through a diagram, so suppose the alpha particle is approaching on the nucleus. So this is our nucleus. So we are taking a distance r0 from the center of nucleus, at which the entire kinetic energy of the alpha particle will convert into potential energy, and because at this point kinetic energy becomes 0, so the alpha particle will be reflected, or you can say repelled back by this nucleus. So this distance is r0, which is called distance of closest approach. Okay, so now what we will do, we will be calculating an expression, or you can say a formula for this r0, which will be called distance of closest approach. Okay, so before calculating that formula, let me tell you some of the assumptions which were made by the Rutherford. So there were 3 assumptions which were made by the Rutherford. First assumption was that he considered that the nucleus and alpha particle both are taken as point charges. Okay, so we will be considering alpha particle as well as your nucleus to be a point charge. Second observation is that the atomic nucleus is so heavy that its motion during the impact is not considered. That is, we are considering nucleus to be that much heavy that there is no impact, or you can say there is no motion of that nucleus. And third assumption was that the scattering is due to elastic collision between nucleus and alpha particle. That is, we are considering an elastic collision between alpha particle and nucleus. So now you will say कि when there is no contact between the nucleus and alpha particle, how we can say a collision is taking place? So if you remember from your 11th class syllabus, this is the property of collision, that there is no physical contact required between two bodies for collision to take place. So this is the example of that only, that without any physical contact, nucleus and alpha particle are still undergoing an elastic collision. Okay, so based on all these observations, now let us calculate an expression for R0, that is distance of closest approach. Okay, so first of all, as I told you, charge on alpha particle is 2 times as that of charge on proton, and as you know, charge on a proton and electron are equal in magnitude. So the charge on alpha particle can be taken as plus 2e. Okay, now if we want to calculate the charge of nucleus, as I told you, charge of nucleus will be equal to total charge of the electrons. So we can take charge of the nucleus to be plus Ze, where E is the charge on one electron and Z is total atomic number. Okay, so see what happens, there will be some electric potential due to nucleus. So first of all, let us calculate that electric potential at R0 due to nucleus. Now as you know from your second chapter, the formula for potential is Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught R. So here our charge on the nucleus is Ze, that is Ze upon 4 pi epsilon naught R0, because we are calculating potential at R0. Okay, so now if this is the potential due to nucleus, when alpha particle will approach, there will be some work done, or you can say there will be the potential energy of alpha particle, which can be given by VQ. Okay, so we have just calculated the formula of V, that is ZE upon 4 pi epsilon naught R naught, and now we will be taking the charge of alpha particle, that is plus 2E. Okay, so now this is the potential energy at R naught, and as I told you initially, the particle, this alpha particle was having some kinetic energy. So let us say that kinetic energy was half mv square. Now according to conservation of energy, this potential energy and that kinetic energy should be equal to each other. So if you use conservation of energy, according to that, the kinetic energy, that is half mv square, will be equal to your potential energy at distance r naught, that is 2ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught r naught. Right, from here if you calculate value of r naught, that will come to be 2ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught into half mv square. So this is nothing but distance of closest approach. Okay, so this was all for today. In tomorrow's lecture, we will be studying about electron orbits, and then we will see what are the limitations of this Rutherford model, due to which Bohr model came into play. Okay, so after going through today's lecture, you can do question number 1 and 2 from chapter number 12, that is atoms, of your NCERT book. Thank you.